And now I get the Miami Vice theme song. I'd say hats off to who's working the sound back there. I appreciate it. Well, let me ask you guys a question. WizardWorld StLouis Comic-Con, do you know the worth of this panel? Are you guys ready to bring some agents out here? One is not an agent, but I have a theory. I think she might be agent-like. She was an agent in Nikita, that's right. All right, guys, before I bring her out, let me remind you, we have a microphone over here. Please keep it to one question per person. And we'll get through as many questions as possible and no special requests, please. And certainly take to social media and let everybody know at home what they are missing out on. My name's Aaron Sagers. I'm going to be the host again for this panel, and I'm very excited to bring these ladies out here. Of course you know her from Nikita. Of course you know her from Desperate Housewives. And of course you know her from Agent Carter. Please show your love and appreciation for Lyndsy Fonseca! And keep it going, because as I asked before, do you know her worth? Well, we know her worth, and we know that her worth is worth a second season and many more. Please, WizardWorld StLouis the only way that you can show your love and appreciation for Ms. Hayley Atwell! How are you ladies doing today? Good? Yes, you should probably get a microphone, yeah? There you go.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hello, everyone.
Well, I'm going to start off with a question, because we know that for the second season of Agent Carter that you're going to Los Angeles. Indeed, that is certainly happening. Well, your character happens to be an actress on the show, so will we hopefully be seeing you head to LA, both of you together, the roommates heading out there together?
I think Angie would like that very much.
Me too. How could we not have Angie? Keep this love going.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the love going. So certainly you guys heard it, pass it along the internet. They should be heading out to LA together. Excellent. Let's take a question from you.
Hi guys, my name is Megan. My question is for Hayley. Who is it more interesting to work with, James Darcy or Chris Evans?
More interesting?
Yeah.
How do you mean interesting?
I mean, who did you prefer working with? Do you have like a favorite?
Oh God, I'm gonna get in such trouble. Well, I've known James for about 10 years. So we had that kind of whole history of being friends in London. And we also did we had a lot of fun on the set. We goof around a lot. We did lots of pranks. And Lyndsy was saying that she's got a photograph of James in a trash can on set. So there was a lot of that kind of crazy silliness going on. But when I was working with Chris, because it was Captain America the First Avenger, it was early days for him as that character. So he was, you know, working out really hard, taking the job very seriously. We were all quite nervous about it. So he was quite serious on set, but then off set, we would play running charades and like computer games. It would be very, very silly. So it's really hard to gauge. I mean, I would take Chris Evans physically. See, now James is going to hate me. I've just lost 2 friends. I hope that kind of answers your question.
Thank you.
You may have lost 2 friends, but you gained 1 great internet story. So, what about with both of you working together? When you first kind of met, how was that dynamic initially? Like, did you know each other previous to working together on Agent Carter?
No. I actually went to a chemistry read with Hayley and some chemistry directors, and that's when I first met her, and I was so terrified. I was so nervous. Because they also set you up to go to the Marvel building at Disney where it's like security doors at like every turn. And so even if you're like going to, you know, audition with Hayley, you're just, it feels like you're going into the CIA or something.
Yeah.
And then just immediately, Hayley has just been incredible to work with. There's just been only open arms and kindness and support. So
I paid her to say that.
No. So yeah, it was just, I think for us, like females, just being supportive of each other on a lot of, you know, male actors, I just felt like immediate support. So it was like great.
Excellent. And before I take your question, I noticed you're in a Captain America t-shirt. I'm in a Captain America shirt. I see a lot of Cap and Agent Carters out there. And I think it's a worthwhile point here today, especially. It's Memorial Day weekend. And I think it's worth really saying hello and saluting to all of the servicemen and servicewomen that have contributed to this country. So, round of applause. Tell these kinds of fun stories. So, and what is your question?
My question was, so Agent Carter is the first female-led Marvel show, and it's really strong female characters. I'm wondering how you guys think that will impact future shows that Marvel will do?
Well, I think it's the support of the fans saying that they want that and they want more of it, and it's a dialogue between the audience and the industry saying this is what we want, this is what we're ready for, and I feel that Marvel took a risk by creating a show based on Peggy and Lyndsy's character as well, of having strong female friendship. But I felt like the audience was speaking out, saying we want this and we're ready for it. And I do hope that it will start a kind of a quiet revolution for more female-led shows, because the audience is there and they want it, and I think it's time.
Hi.
I want to say that I loved you both and Agent Carter, and you're both amazing actresses. And I was wondering if either of you had any dream roles that you would want to play in the future.
Dream roles.
Such a hard question.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. then I'll copy it.
Okay. The first thing that comes to mind is just a variety. You know, I think it's hard for women to get parts that have a wide variety, and I think, you know, it's not one particular role for me. It would be the opportunity to be able to do so many different kinds. I mean, with Angie, I'd never played anything like Angie, so, you know, these opportunities are important. So I guess just a variety.
Yeah, it's a really good answer, because that's kind of all you hope for in a career in film and television, is the opportunity to play lots of different roles. For me, theatre's my kind of first and foremost love, and so I know the characters on stage I'd like to play, like the great roles of Lady Macbeth, Hedda Gabler, to Raise Right Hand, Hermione in Winter's Tale, some great roles for women in Shakespeare. And that's also I always go back to the stage because I feel like women are so well represented in classical theatre than they are in modern day media. That there's so much more that we can get our teeth into. It's not just the sex bomb, the ingenue, or the bitch. It's the multi-dimensional, multifaceted, complex, difficult women that I find fascinating, because it's something I relate to, because I'm really difficult, complicated.
Well, you mentioned actually, 3 tropes that a lot of women are kind of put into in performance and everything. But between Angie and Peggy and even Dottie, 3 women that are all very strong, very different, very complicated in different ways. How much of that was the writing versus just what each of you were bringing individually to those roles, do you think?
Well, I felt like it was a collaboration. I mean, when we were kind of testing for Angie's, there were lots of girls who came in and did very, very different things with the same script. And so when Lyndsy came in, and she had this ability to completely make it her own, and have a strength in there, but also a twinkle of humour, and it just clicked. It's more of a question of finding the right cast that clicks with what's already written, so you can kind of go further beyond the script and then find a way of making it your own.
Do you want to add to that, Lyndsy?
Oh, well, thank you, Hayley. you know, the creators are women, and there's, you know, men, incredible writers on the writing staff as well, but there's an incredible voice and incredible writing that I think, you know, like, you're just reading the page and you're going, oh my God, it's so juicy, you just love it. So really, you know, incredible writers, and I just feel like, thank you.
Did you have any concern though when you were being cast initially, the best friend, playing a waitress, aspiring actress, was there ever any initial concern that this could easily slip into a very superficial type of character?
I think that's a worry of any role. I think, you know, the challenge is to bring as much complication as people have in real life to the characters, but I feel like with Agent Carter, there's so much there that you almost have to rise to it.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for coming to St. Louis.
Thank you for having us.
I have a question for each of you, starting with Hayley. How do you feel that in Age of Ultron, Steve finally, in his head, got to dance with Peggy, and you were trying to move on from Steve? How do you feel about your characters trying to move on from each other?
It's never going to happen. He's never going to find someone. I'm going to make sure of it.
I can get on that train. And you, Lyndsy, I loved you and Nikita. Me and my sister, like, crazy about Nikita. What was it like? So how's it like now not playing such a physically demanding role?
It's so different. It's just, I mean, Alex, Nikita, and Angie, I mean, couldn't be more different. And you know, I as a former dancer, I loved the action I got to do on Nikita. It was so physically demanding and exciting and wonderful. But you know, I have loved putting on Angie's demeanors and quirks and like doing something else and letting Hayley do all the badass fighting. It is different and it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yet, it'd be cool to see Peggy teaching Angie some moves and perhaps some team-up fighting or something. Yeah.
It would be great. And I was going to say, I'm pretty vicious with it.
That's right, yeah.
This question's for both of you. Now that season 1's over, what new directions do you see your characters going in season 2?
Well, it's really hard to say because they're just in the process of mapping out the whole arc of the season, and so that we haven't filled in the details of what actually is going to happen. But I think what is exciting is because it's going to be set in LA and it's set a year later, Peggy's kind of in quite a different place. She's not grieving as much. It's not as raw for her to have lost Steve. So within herself, she's in a much stronger place, so I think we can see much more light and warmth and humour in who she is as a person. But I then also think there's something very, kind of, it reminds me of like LA Confidential, kind of film noir, very glamorous LA life, and that kind of, that dark underbelly of LA in the 40s, which I think we'll see more of. And there'll be maybe just there'll be kind of a depth of kind of characters. I think we were just talking backstage and thinking how great that Angie and her are now at a place where Angie now knows who she really is. So this could be the beginning of a much more interesting friendship where they can truly confide in each other because they're on the same page. But I think it will be developing the characters and also introducing new ones. So there'll be a lot to do. I mean, the showrunners, Michelle Fonseca and Tara Butters, have been extraordinary and very excited about what we're going to do. And I think it's going to fulfill the fans' expectations.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
I think that was said very well.
Great. Thank you.
Just to piggyback on that question, Howard Stark is a very integral part of season 1, even though he wasn't a regular. But so now Dominic Cooper has his own show, Preacher, coming up. How do you hope Howard Stark to be integral also in season 2, or do you think that in season 2 will move on from Stark?
I think there's got to be elements of Stark there and Howard there. I'm not sure to what extent, but he's a pivotal role in her life and in the show. And also, in order to justify Jarvis being in the season. he works for Howard Stark, so there has to be some reason why he's in the season, and it will be based on Howard's presence. So I hopefully we get Dominic. I'll text him and see if he's available, because I'm very busy. He's always working.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi. My question is, what was your favorite scene to do with Chris Evans?
The kiss, obviously.
Besides the kiss.
It was so soft and he smells so yeah, I think it was that, but it was also, you know, obviously the big reveal of his body after the episode. Do you like his body? It's alright. It's a bit muscular for my liking, but no, it was kind of, I had never seen him with his top off before that moment. And so, but they surely did this on purpose. So then I had to kind of rush up to the pod, and he like comes out and he's like, oh God, I'm so tired. It's really amazing. Comes out of this pod looking like an Adonis. And so I just impulsively just grabbed his boob. and so they kept that in there. That was the highlight of my life. The actual scene. Oh yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much.
Why did it be the first panel where I start blushing on stage? Hi. Yes, sir.
Hi. My question's for Hayley. I was curious, the Agent Carter one-shot they did, that they released on DVD, was that to kind of test the waters for doing a series, or was the series already planned and they just went ahead and did the one-shot as a kind of prequel?
No, not at all. The one shot, I think it's, I mean, you can tell because it kind of stands alone. It's not this similar time and it doesn't link to the series in any way in terms of the storyline. I think they just, you know, Louis D'Esposito had done a couple of the one shots for in other shows. And he just called and said, do you want to do this 12-minute thing? And I jumped at the chance to play Peggy again and to be able to meet all the Marvel guys. So when we shot it, there was really no expectation that it would do anything else other than just be of itself a nice little kind of extra. And then it wasn't until we showed it in San Diego Comic-Con that the response from the audience made Louis kind of go, oh, maybe there's something more here. And then we were sitting in the car on our way to Nobu going for seafood, and he just looked at me and just went, you want to make a show? And I was like, yeah, okay. And here we are. So it was, I really didn't know. When I signed up and be part of this Marvel world, you never know what's going to happen next. So I had no expectations. So it's been a really wonderful ride.
Cool. And congratulations, ladies, on season 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. First thing I just want to say, it's not a question. Where were you at the premiere of The Avengers? I watched for you. It hurt my feelings.
I feel like this is a Jerry Springer episode.
Sorry. So that's not a question, okay?
No, it's an expression of sadness.
It's an expression of sadness, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what's your question?
My question is, with Chris Evans, when it's not about his beauty or anything, it's about like his talent, which is really weird. Why am I the only one asking this? When he first started out and stuff, he was like the beautiful boy, like in Not Another Teen Movie, Jake Liller. And then in the first attacks at the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
When you saw he was cast as Captain America, did you see that actually working? Because seriously, as
Can I be honest? I've never heard of the guy. I'm British. I'm a bit of a nerd. I don't watch superhero films. I'm really sorry. But it just wasn't my bag. And it wasn't until I started working with him that I went, oh right, okay, you were in what? And I know it sounds really awful. I had no idea who he was. But I think what he's done brilliantly is really show the development of Cap over the films, and he's come more and more into his own. He's got that more gravitas, he's centered now, he's more nuanced in what he's doing, because he's comfortable, and I think it came from the success of the first one and the fans going, you know, what we think is great, that he was able to go, okay, I think I know what I'm doing now. So he, I think, has brilliantly developed his character over the movies.
I mean, I love him to death, but I thought, oh wow, real acting?
Oh.
And he did it. I love him. He did it. I like Sweet Jemima.
This is not the Take Chris Evans to Task panel, but...
Well, I was genuinely surprised.
But,
I'll let him know.
thank you.
I love him too.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am.
When you did that, were they just like, you're just another customer?
Yeah, I know. I wore a big coat, and I was like, right, I'm gonna go in. I'm just gonna be like, hi everyone, it's me. And they could not care less. Like next. So over it, and yeah, but I have it with me. I have it. Yes, it's there now for life.
This was amazing. Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about your character's friendship on the show? Because there's a moment where it could have so easily, you may not have revealed anything about yourself, and you could have continued to lie, I guess. Was there any plans about that maybe being one alternate path of Peggy continuing to lie? Could that friendship have continued under that pretense, do you think?
Well, I think it's absolutely kind of crucial that to have an arc of their friendship, there has to be some kind of change. And the change comes from when Peggy needs Angie. And that's through that need, when she's on that ledge and Angie covers for her. That's the turning point in their friendship. And that's also when the cover's blown and she realizes that all this time she could have confided in Angie because she would have been there for her. She had her back, and she, in that brilliant moment, the spare of the moment, she decides she knows exactly what she can do to save Peggy in that time. So I think it was very important for the kind of growth of the scene and the growth of the season and the friendship to be able to have that turning point.
Right. Do you think there's any kind of lingering sense of, I don't know, maybe betrayal on Angie's part, that she didn't know and she thought she knew this person?
I think if anything, I think Angie would feel like, proud that Peggy let her guard down. I think Angie is someone who also needs friends and had been kind of having a girl crush on you and being like, be my friend! And, Peggy just holding all of her, putting her guard up. And I think at the end, having Peggy really just say who she really is probably just, I think Angie was just like, finally, hey, yeah. I'm here for you,
Can Peggy, though, the wall can't be down completely considering the nature of the work that she does, so there's going to continue to be some perhaps lies involved, right?
I don't know. I think it's, hopefully now that she's able to confide in Angie and being able to open up, that this is the beginning of a true friendship between them that can develop more. I think that's so wonderful. So isn't it so nice to have a friendship between two women on screen that's not competitive,
right,
and that's not negative?
Yeah.
That's not centered around the love interest or the man. I think that's really refreshing, and I think that's something that Marvel were very keen to promote. And that's also one of the reasons why I think it's such great writing, because people are represented in a much more interesting, realistic way. So I think based on that, we'll want to pursue that a little bit more.
Yeah. Hi.
My question is, you guys play such wonderful independent characters in the show. Did you guys have any particular female role models growing up?
I love the golden age of Hollywood, the Bette Davis and Katharine Hepburns and, all those fantastic women with gravitas and wit and intelligence that happen to look fabulous at the same time, that weren't too airy or too, dependent upon their sex appeal to get what they wanted. And I feel like, I really hope we don't go backwards. I hope we continue that by creating lots more female characters who have all of these fantastic traits and these qualities, because that's what women are. Women are multifaceted, and we can be sexy, but we can be strong, we can be independent, intelligent, witty, all of those things. And that's what I felt growing up that I really saw. And I saw it a lot on stage, with people like watching Judi Dench perform and Helen Mirren and all the great stage actresses, and I felt that that was where the real gravitas of women were, and that's what I wanted to aspire to be like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is going to sound silly after what Hayley just said, but I grew up watching Shirley Temple. Was introduced to Judi Dench later in life, but I just really loved performing, and I just loved being little and seeing another little person performing. And I was a tap dancer and watched, Shirley Temple dance, and I loved Audrey Hepburn, and so I kind of, later on discovered Susan Sarandon and Judy Davis, people that I love. But
Yeah.
It started with the curls.
Yeah. Not silly at all. She was a powerhouse for being so tiny. Yeah.
I've heard a bunch of things on the internet about bringing diversity to the second season of Agent Carter, and I was wondering what you guys know about how that's developing in the next season.
I'm going to have to kill you if I tell you that. It's a conversation that's happening, and it's a conversation that's important to the showrunners, and what was great about it is they brought it up. Instead of me going, right guys, come on, it was them, they just said, this is what we're thinking, what do you think about it? And it's really exciting, and I hope they can follow through, because I think it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity to have more people represented in the show.
Thank you. When did you find out about the renewal? Because I was at the upfronts, the ABC upfronts, and it was a pleasant surprise, but when did you find out?
Well, because of the time difference between the US and the UK, I was fast asleep when the announcement happened, so I woke up to the whole world knowing before me. So that was very exciting, but you find out literally at the time that it's officially announced. ABC, we were talking about this, when people go, oh yeah, you're keeping a secret. Like, no, we really don't know. We have no idea. And it's a frustrating waiting game of hearing so many people going, we'd love it to be renewed, but you just can't give them any information because you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
So it was a welcome surprise.
Yeah. And where were you when you found out the show was getting renewed?
I don't remember. I think I found out the next day too. I was, oh God, this is a downer story. My grandmother was ill, so I was just like in my own world, but it was something that made me very happy, obviously.
Yeah, certainly. Hi.
If they were ever to make a Black Widow movie, would either of you want to be in it? And like, as Black Widow or just as anyone?
Yeah, I think it'd be amazing. I think it'd be great to have a team of women in a female-led Marvel film universe. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a man. Thank you for your support, sir. Thank you. I love that. So the men want it too. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I love Agent Carter, so sorry to change the subject. But Lyndsy, there might be some discrepancy amongst the fandom about this, but I actually really enjoyed the How I Met Your Mother finale. I was wondering what
that's
I was actually wondering what it felt like to know how it was going to end, like years before it actually aired.
Well, it had been so many years that I forgot. We signed a confidentiality agreement, David Henry and I, and so at first it was a big secret, but the show was just starting out, and they had a stockpile of footage, and so many years went by, and I didn't remember. And then when the creators came back and told us about it, I said, wait, what was it? And then I remembered like what we shot and everything, but so it was easy to keep the secret, I guess.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for liking the ending.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. My question's for both of you. Agent Carter did such an amazing job calling out the gender inequality that was so ingrained in the era. What would you love to see discussed or brought up in the coming seasons?
As far as like gender inequality or gender issues?
Yeah, just like any of the issues that were so prevalent in the 40s and the 50s.
enough is how Peggy balances work and her romantic private life. I think that's a very relevant topic of conversation nowadays, isn't it? It's like, how do women do it all? And I think it would be nice to see Peggy tackling that. So she has something for herself at home, and yet that doesn't stop her from being able to achieve what she wants in the workplace and vice versa. But being 1940, it'll be 1947, so I'm thinking socially about any kind of issues that would be relevant at that time would be very exciting to explore. And the exciting thing is also, you know, if this show runs, we know that because of Captain America Winter Soldier, she lives a very, very long life. So I love the series to run until she's in her 90s. But there's, you know, just thinking, she's lived through the 40s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I mean, in terms of socially, economically, what happened and what changed in terms of the civil rights movement and in terms of women's rights and the era of the 70s and the kind of, you know, the crazy powerhouse of the 80s. I think it's really exciting to have her side by side on these issues. It creates great tension and great drama for a show.
I'd like to add one thing about, in America, how women are not given a lot of time for leave when they have a child, or men for that matter. But, you know, there's this idea of women working and what they're, you know, kind of forced to do that's happening right now. And I think what I love about Peggy on the show is how she doesn't tell us as an audience how to do it, she does it by example. Yes.
Thank you.
Aaron, I love that shirt you're wearing.
Oh, thank you.
Incredible. So besides, of course, Steve and Peggy, what are your guys' favorite ships in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Oh, that's a good question.
Darling. Not in front of everyone. I love Sousa. I think Sousa and Peggy are really lovely. They're kind of, again, similar kindred spirits in the fact that, you know, he has a physical limitation, which means he's a minority, and she also, because she's a woman, is also considered a minority in that working situation. So I think that there's a shared kind of chemistry and understanding between them that's, I think, really pure and very beautiful. It kind of reminds me of Steve, you know, skinny Steve and Peggy. Although, I mean, it's never going to replace Steve, obviously. But I think that's lovely. I mean, I'm also up for the possibility of someone completely new coming into her life. And there's a lot of hot people in LA. Who knows? I mean, it'd be amazing if she fell in love with, you know, some like Gregory Peck or some hot, amazing Hollywood star, or Paul Newman or someone like that.
Lyndsy, do you have a favorite ship?
I'm a fan of the Sousa as well. I don't know, there's just something so genuine about him, and Vera's person, so I think it really shows on camera.
And he looks great in a sweater vest.
There you go. Thank you. Hello there.
If you guys had an acting role, can I be in it?
She has an acting role and she'll be in it.
Well, you were in a play, you said?
I was Violet Beauregard and everybody gave me compliments.
We'll be lovely to have you on the show. Let's see if we can make it happen.
Also a singer and dancer.
Keep it up, don't stop.
We'll get your agent information.
Send us the business card.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, this is a headshot.
Since I was on stage when this deal happened, do I get 20% of that? Hi there.
I have a question for both of you. Before you guys were cast for the show, did you guys have any familiarity with like the comics at all?
Before this job, I guess when I did Kick-Ass, I realized I had never actually read a comic. So I did my research then, and I went to comic book stores in LA and talked to lots of cool people, and that whole community and really loved it. And being at Comic-Con now with Nikita for so many times and here, I mean, it's like a whole new world, and it's great.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, really sorry. No, I just no.
But that's also the great thing about having another medium. Like, you know, TV, movies, it doesn't have to be following the comic book strictly, and it's not even like your character in the comic books is doing necessarily all of the things that you're doing on the show. And kind of related to that, you are able to operate within sort of a separate slice of that Marvel universe, since it's not happening concurrently with a lot of the current adventures. Did you feel kind of freedom because of that? Because you could kind of tell these stories that didn't have to directly tie into this next movie or all the other projects?
Yeah, I did hugely, because there was also a feeling of collaboration when it was being written, and some of the times I could see the writers in the corner of their eyes staring at James, Darcy and I and going, oh, I like how stupid and silly they're being, let's write that in. So they created a lot of the dialogue based on our kind of natural banter between us. And it felt that they were absolutely playing to the strengths of the characters. Once they cast us all, they also started to tweak the scripts to make sure that it was really playing on our strengths. Which is great, so you don't feel like there was... sorry, I haven't spoken to you guys. I have my back to you the whole time, haven't I? So there was a freedom in that, because you're not responsible for creating a character that feels so defined and so instilled in the minds of the readers. So as a result, you can have the freedom to play around a bit.
And Lyndsy, after that initial chemistry test behind the Fort Knox of Marvel, when you actually started working in it, did you feel the pressure of that universe, or did you feel sort of freed?
Well, at first I thought I would feel free because Angie's not in the comic.
Right.
But I very quickly realized how much I wanted to please everybody, just because, like, I mean, they're so supportive of me and so kind and give such great material that I just felt so, I just wanted to please them in a very, kind of genuine way. So I pressured myself, really. It was from nobody else.
Right. Thank you. Hi there.
Hi. So, I'm an instructor at Southern University.
Lean into the mic a little bit.
At women gender and sexuality, and I do a unit where I use Agent Carter as a play for a good role model in your friendship as a relatively healthy female-female relationship, as opposed to like Disney princesses.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So apparently, Maggie Gyllenhaal was told recently that at 37 she is too old to be a love interest in a movie with a 55-year-old. Have you experienced that sort of sexism in your career?
I don't think they dare.
See what she can do with a stapler.
No, I really haven't. And I'm lucky in that respect. Maybe I think I have a healthy sense of positive denial. I probably have, but I turned a blind eye to it because I wouldn't ever want to fuel that fire. And I think it's a load of crap as well to suggest that is the case. I think it doesn't make sense at all, and that's also why I'm sorry to bang on about theatre. But the theatre lets women in particular lets them age and be allowed to be all ages, and they believe that every age has its beauty. And you become more beautiful as you become older because you become more in touch with who you are. You become a lot more calmer and stronger in the sense of your identity. And therefore you can tackle much more complex ideas about the world and about relationships that you're in. And that is exciting to me. And that is the kind of place that I want to be and be drawn into. So, if I was ever around someone who was to say that I was too old or too this or too that or not enough of this, I wouldn't want to work with them anyway. Right. Because I think they're quite ignorant.
Reaction would be when she found out that Steve was dating Sharon Carter?
Oh, damn.
She'd have a few words to say to Sharon. Sharon's the granddaughter, right?
Or niece.
Or niece. Either way, it's wrong. I think she'd lock her in her room and ground her.
Come on, Steve. That's a little skeevy on
I would be like,
Steve's part.
go and find another family.
There has to be a female Stark out there or something, another legacy, Marvel legacy.
This question's for Miss Atwell. Having been doing a period character for a couple of years and being a British actress, would you ever want to do an episode of Doctor Who?
I've done a couple of radio plays in Doctor Who. I actually, in fact, played, I played an alien in Doctor Who in the radio. And I think you can get it online or something, but in the audio, I was meant to be the queen of the universe or something, I don't know. But I had this condition whereby we had OCD and we were obsessed with cleaning ourselves to the point where we would scrape a layer of our skin off. This is really gross, and scraped our hair off and all that. So anyway, so luckily because it's on radio, I mean, I was just like, you know, my own clothes doing this and having to do this voice of someone who had very little skin left. And then when the CD came out, there was a photograph. And they had taken all my hair off. So there's an audio somewhere of me in a Doctor Who episode, bald. I was like, thanks for that. Mum's going to be really proud.
Yeah. Not that I'm pushing you out of your current job, but you could be the next Doctor. Just saying. Out of time, but I want to get through these last three as a lightning round. So can you phrase it as a yes/no question for these ladies and we can move through it? Okay, otherwise we're out of time. So let's just ask real quickly.
Miss Fonseca, your feelings on Angie having a secret that she's not told Peggy?
Yes. Yes, she has some.
There you go, thank you. Hi.
Do you have the worst scene you've had to do with Chris?
Oh, the worst?
The worst? Yes, sir.
Sorry, this is a little low. There's been a big kind of debate in the world going on about how women are a little more repressed in other parts of the world. You might have heard something about this. We're very fortunate that we get to see women empowerment in our country. Is there a push to get Agent Carter to the rest of the world so we can see more young women seeing positive female roles that aren't sexualized?
Yes, I'm not going to say yes or no.
No, that's, yeah.
I've got something I want to share with you because it was a very humbling, a very important moment in this whole experience, which was I was invited to the Middle East. And I went to Dubai, and I saw a woman, and she was in a burqa, full burqa, and she asked me to write, could you write "Women can be heroes too" on my picture? Yeah. And I just burst into tears. I thought it was the most beautiful thing. And I think what's wonderful is I've been able to travel the world, meeting people who, especially young people, both boys and girls, and to see the impact that a positive message that Peggy has of to know your value has made, and I think it's something that people need to hear. It's something that people need to be reminded of. So I feel very, very proud and privileged to be a part of that message.
Even though you broke the rule, that was a really solid question. On that note, St. Louis, thank you so much, and please show your